To the IDRA Classnotes podcast. Today, we're talking about the IDRA VisionCoders program and how game design can be a powerful pathway into computer science learning. I'm joined by my friend, Dr. Carol Redfield, who has partnered with me for the past 5 years in developing and refining the VisionCoders curriculum. She serves as a professor of computer science at St. Mary's University in San Antonio. I also lovingly refer to her as the CS Queen everywhere I go. I'm Dr. Stephanie Garcia, IDRA STEM Education Specialist, and I've had the privilege of serving as the project director for Vision Coders. If you aren't familiar already, Vision Coders is modeled after our flagship program, the IDRA Valued Youth Partnership. It's a cross-age mentorship program where students who are considered at risk for dropping out of school, they're all involved in this year-long elective course where middle school students serve as game designers as they code math and reading games for their buddies in their elementary schools that are a part of their feeder pattern. So, just really exciting program. You know, Dr. Redfield, people often think computer science is just coding. Why did we choose game design as the vehicle for teaching these concepts?
Well, one thing is most people like games and playing games and gaming,
Yeah.
so there's automatic interest in that. The other thing, though, I like about what we've developed is it really does put the kids through the whole software development process from analysis, design, coding, testing, getting feedback from your users. It puts them through all those steps. And if you think about it, that involves a lot of things, some problem solving and critical thinking. And you had to be creative because you're creating something from nothing, a game from nothing. And of course, computational thinking, which we talk about specifically in the curriculum.
Absolutely. And I feel like all of that really drives the student engagement, right? Really hits that inquiry-based learning that we all want to have that approach in our classrooms. You know, we've worked with many students over the years in San Antonio. What do you, and you know, have a role in many other programs and work in the community. You know, what do you think makes Vision Coders different from a typical coding program? You know, usually students are consumers of technology, but in this, it reverses that. It flips it around to where they're the creators, right? So talk about that change in that learning experience and what you think, you know, sets Vision Coders apart from other typical coding programs.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add to what you said before is this, it's a lot of active learning.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
is much easier for anyone one of us to learn from. And as part of that, the process that they learn is iterative to make a game and test it out with getting feedback from their buddies, and then take some of that. Actually, first they interview their buddies to find
Yeah,
out
they get
what
to know who's playing the game, right?
they want to work on, what kind of from letter recognition to adding two-digit numbers to whatever their buddy likes and wants to work on. And a lot of times they find out what kinds of characters they like, and so the programmer, the eighth graders, will put those in the game. Like I saw mermaids.
Yeah.
Right? So using that information from the buddies that they have, and then putting that in the game, making the game, going through that whole process, and then getting feedback again, and even making changes on it. So that kind of iterative approach, which is how a lot of software is developed. It's called the agile development process. So they really are doing that whole thing, and getting the feedback from their users, which so many times in programming classes, we just don't do that. It's like, program this,
So
that's great.
true.
Yeah, did you do all that? So um, those are the things I like to say about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You're so right about how it's, you know, game design is computer science, it's computational thinking, it's that design thinking, right? That empathy factor is really driving the whole process for them. They have that relationship with their buddy, and that really drives them every day to want to give their best in the game that they're designing, right? And to, you know, they get so excited when they get to have their buddy visit and show it to their buddy and have their buddy play their game. They're very proud, right? It's a sense of
Yeah,
ownership. Yeah.
that, that was one of my favorite things, was watching those sessions, because the kids are sitting whatever direction on
Yeah.
different, on the floor and all of, but they are playing this game and they are learning something or practicing something. So it's pretty cool.
And I think it's through that keystone part of the program that you start to see the development of the middle schooler where they start to see themselves differently, right? Like, I'm thinking about this quote. I'll read it so I don't want to mess it up because it's so good. She wrote, a Vision Coder student um, wrote this down in her, she's one of the winning reflections that she submitted that shared more about her experience in the program. And she said, Vision coders help me believe in myself. I've realized that I can do hard things as long as I don't give up. It's inspired me to keep exploring technology, and I'm even thinking about a career in coding now. So I think it's that big shift that you start to see, especially from the fall to the spring semester, you really start to see a big change in students and how they see themselves. I know, Dr. Redfield, you and even some of your undergraduate and graduate students would come, that are CS majors would come and spend time with our students and our teachers. What kind of changes did you observe in students and maybe even teachers throughout the program?
Yeah, well, one thing about the teachers is the teachers came, from all different disciplines. So
Yes.
to not only in their training that you all do with them, but also in the program, really feel confident and feel like they could learn a new technology and be able to teach the kids at the same time.
Mm,
That confidence really
mhm.
of, oh, it's okay to not totally understand this for us to learn together, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as we're going along. Um, there's one other, that's what I got right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that confidence is key. That change is that's definitely one of the changes that I've always observed in the students. And you're so right about the teachers. Like you said, they might be a math teacher in sixth grade, or they might be a science teacher in eighth grade, and they're teaching a year-long elective course of Vision Coders. And it's something new. I was a middle school teacher. It's a new experience, but IDRA, we really come alongside and coach and mentor our teachers just as our elementary and middle school students are being mentored, right? And it makes me think of another quote from a student I want to share from a poem that she wrote for her reflection submission. She said, I learned that mistakes are not the end. They are clues, they are lessons, they are proof that I am learning instead of standing still staring at that same dang problem over and over again. And so I'd love for you to talk about, that problem solving, transformation to like how students are really working through those problems and sticking to it and not giving up. That's a huge life skill that they're learning throughout Vision Coders.
Yeah, and to know when to get help too, right? Is a part of,
Yes.
yeah, when you're staring at something, and my undergraduate and graduate students could relate to that. They were always impressed, by the way, by the what the students were making.
Oh,
Yeah, um, and loved helping them and supporting them. Um, so you could just see they became comfortable at making mistakes, like trying things out. And so much
yeah,
of computer science is, I just got to try this out, see what happens. Try this out.
exactly.
So much trial and error, as
Yeah.
many creative things are. And then the other thing about their shift, I think, has to come with, require them to present about their game to a person, another person in their class, to the class, and
Mhm.
then to at the showcase a group of people. So just that kind of, again, confidence, that being okay in your skin at
Yeah.
presenting what you did is
Mhm.
invaluable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so true. And thinking ahead of this program, and even just from 5 years ago, I've seen so many changes in the field. I mean, even from our state standards, now we have K-8 STEM standards in Texas, and just in the lifespan of this grant that we had and this program, I've seen so many changes, and now AI, thinking about as AI and technology continues to evolve, why do programs, Dr. Redfield, like this remain important?
Mhm. Well, whatever wherever AI goes, um, we're still going to need to be able to understand how code works.
Yes.
There will be pieces of things that AI produces that maybe we can use and maybe pull off the shelf, although that promise has been around since computers have been around and it has come true. But whatever we get to say use that already exists out there, you're going to want to modify it or it needs to be modified. And so you have to understand how the code works or how coding works in general. So a lot of these students will have an idea of what it takes to write code in general, right?
Yeah.
Specific language or specific tool necessarily, but they have a sense of what it takes in a very small scale. So in this larger scale, when AI is going to be around more and more, I hope that we don't take the human out of the loop, and that's a whole other issue. uh, but that as long as we human beings are pulling things together to create a solution, we're going to
Yeah.
understand how coding works, how things can be put together, what things are going to work, what things aren't going to work. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and all those skills that they're learning through this program will prepare them for any career path, really. When you think about these transferable skills, when you think about computational thinking skills, pattern recognition, decomposition, breaking a big problem down into smaller problems, that's all human-centered problem solving, like you talked about, that we're still going to need no matter where technology is a few more years from now, or, what career pathways are actually opening up even that we're preparing our students for by the time they graduate. So these are still really strong future ready skills that we're developing with
yeah,
our students, right? And
I might
Dr. Brett, uh-huh.
mention the other two parts of computational thinking, the
Tell us.
abstraction
Abstraction.
thing that you know what one is, but you can't point to one. There's not a thing that's one. You can point to one of something, but
Mm,
but one is an abstraction, and understanding what that is and what that means is a very human thing.
it is. It is. It's so true,
Important things and seeing, yeah, what counts.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've been our embedded content expert, our champion, our advocate, through 5 years of building this program. And we've seen how this program can demonstrate that when students are given opportunities to create, design, and solve problems through technology, I think the main message today is they're not just learning computer science, they're discovering their own potential as innovators, as leaders. And so I just want to end today's conversation with a couple things. Like if you are interested in bringing vision coders to your school community or one that you know about, let us know. Contact us here at IDRA. We can definitely talk about how to start up this year-long elective course there in your school community. We would love to help support that cross-age mentorship, that STEM and college readiness, there in your community feeder pattern. And also, we need funding to keep this going. So adopt a school is what I would definitely say to any folks who want to invest in our schools, invest in our students and our teachers. We really need your help. So we would love for you to adopt a school. Our teachers love this program. Our principals and counselors love this program. And, this is a year-long thing where we're in there coaching and mentoring our students and our teachers, and we would love for you to be a part of that. So thanks again, Dr. Redfield, for joining us and sharing your experience as one of our so supportive partners through this whole process. Thank you for everything you've done to invest in this program and in the lives of students and teachers, and appreciate all the expertise that you bring and all of your students that have been a really key cornerstone of the program too. So thank you again for joining me today, Dr. Redfield, and stay in touch, everybody. We would love to bring this program to your school, so reach out to us. We'll talk soon. Thanks again.